Been together 18 years, now it's the legacy. Like sweeter with you by my side, just like some Nestle. I'm better with you right here standing next to me. Me and you together with God is the right recipe. With Jesus dying on that cross, it's a necessity. Always make me feel at ease when weight is pressing me. You and me walking together through life's complexities. Family and ministry, flowing just like TNT.
All right. Welcome to another episode of TNT Legacy.
Yeah.
Want to ask you all to subscribe, to share, to let someone know about this podcast as we reflect on marriage, family, and ministry. Tom, we didn't get into this last time, but why don't you talk to the people about the name TNT Legacy? What does that mean to you when you think of that?
When I think of TNT Legacy, I think of the lasting impression I hope to leave. I think of Girl Scouts. Girl Scouts had this saying, right? Always leave a place better than you found it. And that sums it up. Like, when I'm gone, I hope that this world will be a better place because of whatever I did while I was here, right? And that I have made a lasting impression upon the earth. And more so, it's just the things that I want to leave for my kids, you know, and my grandkids and my great-grandkids, and not even just my blood family, but my neighbors, my church family, people, friends, people I know and who have met me and spent time with me. I hope that I will have lived my life in such a way that when I'm gone, I will be missed.
Very cool. Yeah, and I think for me, obviously it's your name and my name, playing off the idea of dynamite. I'm reminded of one of my mentors told me that. He said, your wife will either double your ministry or cut it in half. He told me that during the time period when, you know, we were considering each other for marriage, and I just never forgot that because, unfortunately, I've seen all these years later situations and circumstances in marriages where one spouse or the other, maybe the wife wants to be a missionary overseas, and you know the husband's like, no, I'm not trying to do that. Or maybe the husband has some vision of starting a ministry, and you know his wife's just not on board. So to be married 18 years and to see the flourishing, you know, of our relationship, and then the impact that we have been able to have, and what we want to continue to have.
Yep.
I think is a real blessing. And so TNT Legacy for me means, you know, leaving that legacy, like you're saying, to our kids, the joining together of two lives for a greater impact than what we can have on our own. I want to say just this morning you were trying to figure out, dude, what did you do before you got married? Like, how did you survive? And you remember saying that?
Yeah, it was either this morning or last night. Yeah. I definitely said that.
And you chalk it up to
the Lord's grace kept you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, no, I'll be the first to admit it. My mom told me, you know, when I was a young man, dude, you need a wife. Like, this is bad. So I can definitely say that my life has been enhanced, you know, by our relationship. And speaking of which, why don't we jump into the story of
here we go.
How we got together in the first place. I think one of the coolest things about our relationship is we were friends first.
Absolutely.
Like, legitimately.
Yeah, years.
We would have called ourselves
brother and sister, like
brother
friends.
and sister.
Yep.
So what do you remember about that in college, just the relationship that we had before any thought of anything between us?
It was playful. It was there was respect. I saw your desire for the Lord and your seriousness about growing with Him, and it made you stand out even amongst many other young Christian brothers. It stood out. It was different. Yeah. So, and it was a little bit of that playful brother and sister thing, like, ugh, you get on my nerves, but you really don't, right? I think one time you made me fall. Yeah, you did. And I was like, but
What I do? Pull the chair from
you pulled
under
the
me?
chair out from underneath me and I fell. Yeah. So, kind of that brother and sister joking, messing with each other kind of thing. But also one of conversation, like you would come and ask questions or you would listen when I spoke in a way that the other ones didn't. When you spoke with a seriousness and a certain something that commanded my attention.
So you was liking me before you.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't even go there. Can we at least agree on how it started? The very beginnings of it.
I'm playing.
Okay.
Hey, I remember
Yeah.
the fellas being immature and acting crazy.
Yeah.
I remember, I can't remember how long it lasted, but there were guys older than me in the ministry, and I was maybe sophomore, junior year. I remember, this thing was going around where the fellas was talking to the girls on campus like, y'all need to submit to me.
That was one of those cafeteria
Yeah,
conversations.
like the cab and stuff. And,
Yeah.
and I remember having heard it, for a few days, and obviously they were messing around, but they were talking about the relationship between men and husband and wife.
Sure.
But as young, immature guys do, they try to apply certain things or joke in all situations. So they were just going around campus telling girls to submit. And I remember listening to the conversation, and I remember you being a little upset, which wasn't normal, for your, demeanor and personality and things of that nature. But you were very firm in your rebuttal to some of the jokes and some of the things that were being said. And a few days later, I don't know how long, but I just remember you giving me an index card with Ephesians 5, the verses about marriage and husbands love your wife like Christ loved the church, wives submit to your husband, the respect piece. Like you wrote that whole passage out on the index card and gave it to me. What went into that? Because I don't even think I said anything.
No, I think you did. I think you must have asked the question.
Okay, so
based off of what I said.
What went into you taking the time to write me an index card? And again, with just friends, I'm trying to figure out how this thing works, being a Christian young man and whatever. Why did you write me that?
I think I just wanted you to know the other side of it. Like, obviously, I heard my mom in my head. Submission was not taught to us as a dirty word. Submission was a good thing, but a word that was often thrown around, kind of haphazardly and sometimes in an abusive way.
Yeah.
And so what I remember hearing from my mom is that the way in which a man leads can make submission easier or harder, right? And that submission and the wife's role to submit is not the only command that is given. If a husband loves his wife like Christ loves the church, then ideally anyway, the wife would not have a problem or a hard time submitting. That's what was going through my head as I listened to them say that. And I just wanted you to see both sides and not just you submit because you're lower than me. Like, no,
Right.
like, what's your role and responsibility to love? Yeah, so.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time ago, so I don't remember how, the passage that you gave me, if it had much of an impact on me at the time. I mean, I remember how you giving it to me made me feel.
Which was?
Just grateful. I was like, that's pretty cool that she would take time to do that. I was grateful. I saw it as you taking the word seriously. And so, yeah, I was glad to have it. And I look back on it now, I'm like, dang,
Who knew?
Lord, you
Who knew I would be handing
you
that card
do
to
some
my
things,
husband?
right?
That's crazy.
You do some things, but I also remember, as it relates to you, I remember me and my friends. You know, you were in a very serious, very long relationship in college. So, for most of us young Christian dudes, we just assume like those two are gonna get married. You know, they're a power couple. They vibe. You know, yeah. You know, y'all were like a mature couple. Other
Gotcha.
people could look up to.
Gotcha.
And so we just assumed like, yeah, that's a wrap. So none of us ever talked about you as a potential spouse or anything like that. But I do remember saying, man, I want a wife like her. Like she's serious about her business. She's serious about her faith. I do remember making those observations. All right. And fast forward, you graduated because you were a year ahead of me in school.
I graduated in 2003.
I was a junior when you left. We were still playful, joking friends. You were still in your relationship. And, you know, you left school and we did not communicate.
No.
I don't know, you know, you were a little bit behind. You didn't have a cell
Don't
phone.
do that. Don't do that.
You didn't have a cell phone in college, so
Yeah. I got a cell phone after I graduated and after I got a job
okay, so
to pay the cell phone bill.
Okay, so you went that route.
Yes.
And so the following year, which should have been when I was graduating, I needed one more semester to graduate.
Yeah.
And but anyway, you came back for graduation for your friends. You remember this?
Yes, but this is where the story differs.
We're just gonna put it out here. We're gonna let the people decide.
Please.
Y'all decide.
Y'all.
If you could put in the
Oh
comment
gosh.
section or something, let us know how you picking up what was being put down, and let us know if you think that, you know. I'll just leave it at that. So, which version you like best? So,
All right.
as I recall,
yes,
you
Terrence.
came back for graduation for one of your friends.
Yeah.
You called my friend.
Yes. Who
My
was
buddy
no
at the time.
our friend? That was my big brother. Don't do that.
Hold on, you called Scotty?
Scotty was
Okay,
the big brother
you
I was
called-
looking for. You were living at his house.
Okay, so wait. No, don't do that.
What?
Don't do that.
What?
After 18 years now, don't do that.
What?
I was told you called looking for me and that you wanted to surprise me and to not tell, you didn't want Cuff to tell me who was coming, but just make sure I didn't leave before you got there. Am I making that up?
No, you're not making that up, but that was not the initial.
Okay.
We
All
were
right.
looking for the brothers.
Okay, all right.
Scotty, the big brother,
All right, you're looking for Scotty.
whom you lived with, was not home, but
Okay.
you were.
All right, and then...
Right? And I hadn't seen or talked to you.
Okay,
So, yes, the rest did come, as you said. It was,
rest
oh, well,
did.
don't tell him. I'm going to just show up and see how he doing.
all right. Okay, I remember that part.
Okay.
That was told to me later by the friends. All right, so you come to the house.
Yeah. I came to the house.
We sitting down, we laughing, joking, talking, catching up.
Like old times.
Like nothing.
Like old time. Brother, sister,
Right.
friends.
Like nothing ever happened.
Friends,
So
uh-huh.
as a friend would do, America,
Oh, all of America.
I said, how are you and your significant other doing? You remember what you said?
I said, I don't know. Ask him.
Yeah, you did, but you put a little neck roll in there. I don't know. You need to ask him.
That was
Okay.
honest. We were
All
we
right.
were on the rocks at that point in time. I
Okay.
didn't know how to.
Yeah, you was going
Classify
through some things.
where we
Yeah,
were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm a full disclosure kind of girl, right?
Right.
I give you an honest answer.
so I didn't know what
Yeah.
that meant. And when you said that, I was
It
like,
meant what I said. It meant I don't know.
I was like,
trying to figure out what's going on too.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I left it alone.
Yeah, you did.
Right?
Yep.
Then, as the conversation continues to go, you asked me for my phone number.
This is at the end when we get ready to say goodbye.
Yeah, I'm saying, I'm just
yeah.
saying. You asked me for my phone number.
Given
Right? You
the
remember that?
fact that I had just gotten a cell phone,
Okay.
we were friends.
Okay, I'm just.
And yes, I did ask for your cell phone number. I did do that.
I'm just trying to put it out here for the people.
Yes.
So
America, you decide.
So you asked me for my number.
I did.
And then.
With no intentions, no romantic intentions, by the way.
No romantic intentions.
We were just friends.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys left.
We did.
Okay. So I'm chopping it up with fellas, this is a good visit, praising God for the visit or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Well, no.
Oh, come on now.
Not praising God for the
praising
visit.
God for the visit.
Actually, I went to the bathroom. But on my way to the bathroom, my phone rings. And it's a number that I don't recognize. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, hello? And it was you.
I was checking the number. I was.
And you said, I wanted to make sure you gave me a valid number.
I don't know why I thought you wouldn't. I don't know.
In my mind, I'm like, why
I don't know.
would you think I wouldn't give you a number? But at that point.
That's when.
At that point.
Our versions took.
My friend comes in and he's like, dude, she likes you.
Oh.
I'm like, man, I said, you tripping. But I do remember thinking in my head, like, wait a minute. Does she like me? Is that what all this means? Then I start calculating. I'm like, okay, I'm minding my own business in Tuskegee, ain't bothering nobody. She come to surprise me. Okay.
I didn't come to Tuskegee to surprise
I'm just
you.
saying, this is how the information is being relayed to me.
Oh, gosh.
Then I say, how you and your boyfriend? I don't know, you got to ask him.
That's honest.
Then you say, give me a number. Then you call. This was the kicker. You called to verify.
I don't know why I did
at that point, I'm like, all right, now.
I don't know.
Mama ain't raised no fool.
I
Like,
can't explain why I did that.
Okay, so do you understand how I could be interpreting it as you like me? Not saying that's what you meant.
With the egging on of your friends feeding it to your head.
Oh no!
Yes.
With nobody egging it all, just from face value.
No, not from face value. Because, for instance, you said things like, you came to Tuskegee to see me. No, I didn't come to see you. I didn't come to see you. But I was excited, and I wanted to see you while I was there, which makes sense, seeing as how we were friends, brother and sister. Okay. That makes sense. Now, I can explain why I asked for your number. I cannot explain why I called back and said, just checking the number. Well, I don't know why I did that.
In your defense,
you know me.
You a little bit.
You know me not to be forward like that.
You are not forward like that.
No.
And you also are not thinking about how other people are interpreting your actions. Your actions are your actions. They're your genuine thoughts and actions
for sure.
based on whatever intentions you have.
Yes.
And you're not playing chess or trying to figure out the room and what they got going on. Me, on the other hand,
I'm not doing it.
I'm always trying to figure out what these jokers got going on. Like, I'm always looking for the ulterior motive.
You're a skeptic.
Yes, very much so.
That's what I call it.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, fast forward. I'm preaching in this little country church in the middle of nowhere. And I want to take a minute to just say, shout out. This is why I feel comfortable doing this podcast. I'm going to just let people know. Because, I know when I talk on the podcast, people hear my country grammar, right? But Shannon Sharp, he has a country accent too.
Very heavy.
And he has 2 or 3 podcasts. He talk on TV every day. So I'm like, if Shannon can put his country accent out there, so can I. So, hey, you got to deal with it.
I like it. But, I think it's cute.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But anyway, I'm in this little country church in the middle of nowhere. I'm there to preach. I was very young at the time. I'm assuming it was a youth service. It's one of these shotgun churches where, you sit in there and you got all the pews and then the sanctuary, the choir stand, and then it's just 2 little doors on either side of the pulpit. On one side is the bathroom. On the other side goes outside or maybe to the small fellowship hall in the back. But anyway, I'm in that little bathroom. I have my cell phone in my coat, in my suit or my shirt pocket. I lean over in the bathroom to flush the toilet. And my phone with your number,
Yeah, my number.
which I had not used
No, he didn't use it.
in a month. And in your defense, you also didn't call me
I did not call you
in that whole month-long window.
because I wasn't trying to get you. That's why.
You did not call me. I did not call you. But anyway, I flushed my phone. I dropped my phone in that toilet, and I said, "You know what? I'm not putting my hand in there." And I flushed it. I flushed it down. Sorry, little country church, if I messed up your plumbing, but it wasn't that deep. I wasn't trying to get that phone. So anyway,
Who flushes a phone? down
lose
the
my
toilet?
phone, and therefore lose all ability
Yeah.
to contact you, even if I did want to contact
Were
you.
you gonna contact me?
I don't know. And I probably don't know because at that time I probably still was very much so conflicted with the young lady that I was interested
Yeah.
in college. Like that was a whole back and forth. You had a steady relationship. Mine was like a tennis match. You know, the ball just being volleyed back and forth, never
Yeah.
really knowing where it was. Kind of confusing. But at that time I was still in it. So I don't know if I would have called you or not. But fast forward, shout out to Sam and Renita Matthews for getting married,
Yes.
inviting the whole crew to the wedding. I think my boy Sam loved me enough to put me in the wedding.
You were in the wedding.
So
You
I
were.
was in my Sunday best
Dress.
I'm sure, some kind of rented
Yes.
tuxedo or something along that nature. And you were in the crowd. And I think that day was the first time that any kind of romantic spark
For
flew
sure.
between us. And I know it was flying for me
No,
because
it was for me too.
I did things that day I don't never do.
What did you do? Tell me.
Dance.
He danced.
Tried to
y'all.
dance.
Yes, he did.
Which is not my thing at all. Never been, never could. Some people have seen me attempt to dance. They know how bad it can be. But
Yeah.
that day in that little fellowship hall, you know, I got my little two-step on. Enough not to completely embarrass myself.
Yeah.
Were you travel nursing at this time?
enough to
No,
win
you
you
were
a
still-
wife. What?
No, you were still at Duke Hospital
I
at
was
this time.
in North Carolina.
Yeah, but so anyway, the sparks flew. We hung out. We went and we ate together with some other friends. It wasn't just me and you. We talked. Left those friends. We went our separate ways, but we talked on the phone most of the night.
Because you got my number again.
Because I got your number again. We talked some more. And it was, you know, it was different. It was still the same familiarity of a friend, but it was obviously something else was going on
For
in
sure.
that. And I would say maybe for a month or two, we kind of continued in that. I can't remember the exact timeline. However, you began to do travel nursing. So you went from being stationary with your nursing degree, first job at Duke Hospital, to traveling the country and doing 3-month stints at various hospitals around America. You're hitting some of the big cities. What cities did you hit?
Okay, so the first one was Oakland, California.
All right, you hit Oakland.
Yep, I went from there to New York.
All right.
Lived in
New
Manhattan, worked in Brooklyn,
Uh-huh.
and then I went to Las Vegas,
Uh-huh.
and then I went to Los Angeles. That was
Alright.
my last one.
So it was like a whole year of
Yeah.
travel
A
nursing.
little longer than a year. Yeah.
In New York. Me and my back and forth, relationship with the person I was interested in had dissipated completely. I was extremely frustrated with that situation. Just frustrated. I probably was on one of those, I ain't really trying to date kicks, for a season or whatever. But I remember when we would talk on the phone and you were doing your travel nursing, and I was hearing you tell me about your days or whatever. First of all, you are a serious Chicago stepper, that style of stepping.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I was.
you was.
Yeah.
Please forgive me. We need to get back to that.
Yeah, that was a lot
That's
of fun.
one of them things that we need to do. They don't have a lot. Dre Jamal, who's actually in the room with us, we got to get back to some of those dance nights for the people, so I can date my wife in this way. Yeah. But anyway, so you were doing that.
Yeah.
You were kicking it. Now this is one thing. Now you had a lot of male friends, guys that you just hung out with, platonic things.
Yeah.
Platonic for you.
True.
And I would always tell you, like, these dudes, they're trying to date you. You know what I mean? Whether they say it or not. And he was like, oh no, they just my friends. Whatever. But anyway, I started seeing some things and hearing some conversations with you, and I just jumped to conclusions. I'm like, man, this girl ain't serious about God. Like, I ain't got time. So I'm out. And I tell you that. You remember me telling you that? I
remember you telling me that out of the blue. You called me, and told me.
And what did you say?
All right. What was I supposed to say?
Yeah.
First of all, I mean, we weren't in a committed relationship. So,
no.
Part of me was just like, okay, but we're not together anyway. So you do what you gotta do, But I trust the Lord with it. Like, whatever's supposed to be, like, it'll be. And if you got strong convictions and you feel like I ain't the one because I'm too much of a heathen, well, okay.
Yeah.
I know the Lord. I love the Lord, but you got to follow your beliefs. So, hey, and I don't know why, but it didn't bother me. Like,
and to me, that's one of the best qualities. You just weren't rattled.
I was like, okay.
I can imagine some girls in that situation, may feel heartbroken or desperate or clinging to, and you was just like, dude, whatever.
I think part of me was like, he think I ain't saved. Like, this joker tripping.
Based on probably what came out of my mouth, I probably made you feel like that, which is a tragedy. But thank you for covering my.
All good.
A bit edgy.
Edgy.
Still a bit edgy,
but a little bit.
So anyway, we do that, and then we stop talking. And I remember, and this is how we know God orchestrates things, because I was done. I was even asking my wife, I was asking some of my friends, hey, what do you guys think? And they were affirming, this is not a good situation, not a good relationship. Obviously, they were giving my opinion of it.
Oh, you mean about pursuing me?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I'm going to need a list of names when we leave here.
Some of them still around. We don't want to do that. But I remember I had a friend, Sir Jason. Shout out to Sir Jason. He was not walking with the Lord at the time. He was like doing his own thing. And he was my roommate. And I felt really bad. And I didn't want to see him continue to go in that path. So I called another friend, Shep, from Florida. Shout out to Shep. And I was like, hey, bro, like, Sir Jason's tripping. Like, I'm going to have to call in reinforcements and intervention. He comes to town, catches a bus from Florida to Atlanta, to Atlanta, and I go and pick him up. And he comes, spends a few days in Tuskegee. We try to talk to Jason. It doesn't work out. He has to go back. So I'm taking Shep back to the bus in Atlanta so he could catch it to Florida. And on my way to Atlanta, this old lady calls me, who I met randomly in Tuskegee doing a good deed. She was walking in the hot sun in Alabama heat with some grocery bags, and I saw her, and I'm like, it's too hot for her to be out here. So I pull over, give her a ride, and I'm like, hey, ma'am, it's really hot. If you need a ride sometimes, don't hesitate to give me a call. I'll come pick you up. She was like, cool. So little feisty lady, full of character and jokes and, say whatever pop up in her head. So anyway, I'm taking Shep back to Atlanta sometime later, and she calls me and says, "Can you give me a ride?" I was like, "Where are you?" She was like, "I'm in Atlanta." I was like, well, first of all, what you doing in Atlanta? You live in Tuskegee. I'm visiting my boyfriend. I was like, boyfriend? I was like, look, you lucky, because I would not come all the way to Atlanta to get you out here hanging with some boyfriend. He should take you back to Tuskegee, but I'm already on my way to Atlanta, so to drop a friend off, so I'll get you. So I get to Atlanta, I drop the friend off. I get from the bus station. I call her. I get a sense of direction to where she is. Mm-hmm. She's off of I-20. I start driving down I-20. And then my immature young man mind, a random thought pops in my head. Why don't you call so-and-so girl and just check on her, see how she doing? So I called. She don't pick up the phone. Then my mind says, why don't you call this girl, see how she doing? I call. She don't pick up the phone. And I'm literally going through girls I've had some type of interest in, serious interest in. It was only 3. So I call those 2. They don't pick up the phone. Then I call you. You answer the phone. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing good. How you doing? We hadn't talked since I told you
you didn't want me.
And, you're polite. And I say, how you been, whatever. And I was like, where are you? Because I didn't know you were traveling nursing, so I didn't know where you were. You were actually in Atlanta visiting your sister. You were on I-20.
I was.
And in my mind, I'm like, this got to be the Lord. I don't know why, but it's got to be him. So I go pick up the old lady, and I say to you, you know what? I'm coming back to see you. So me, you, and the old lady, I can't remember her name. I keep calling her old lady. I cannot think of her name for whatever reason. We all 3 go to Waffle House.
Yep.
We talk for several hours. Then me and the lady drive back to Tuskegee. And I'm having this conversation with God, and I'm like, dude, I've already established this girl ain't the one. Like, why does this keep coming back up? And I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Atlanta. I'm going to, the next day, I'm going to tell her all the reasons I backed up. When I do, she going to curse me out, and I'm going to go on about my life, and she going to go on about her life. And so I call you, and I say, hey, can I come see you tomorrow, next day? And you say, yeah. And then I'm coming. The next day, I drive all the way back to Atlanta in my best clothes. Why I'm in my best clothes, I don't know. But I got my best clothes on. I'm thinking it's a date.
You had
remember what you came to the door in?
Some baggy sweatpants and a sweatshirt. You forgot to tell me it was a date. You said you was coming back, and I said okay. And we were friends, and
oh my Lord.
Yeah, I was kind of interested, but it did not dawn on me that this was a date.
You know what? And I tell people this sometimes, but when I saw you in that hoodie, it was like I was looking at the most beautiful human I had ever seen in my
Terrence,
life.
really?
I'm so serious. And I don't know. It's just what the Lord does. Like, I wouldn't make it up. Like, okay. And I was like, I don't know why she in a hoodie. But she looks so good. So anyway, we go out. We go bowling. You beat me in bowling.
That was God.
Which
I'm not a good bowler, guys.
Whole miracle.
I bowled a turkey.
You hit
that is
3 strikes
in a row. I have never in my life done that again.
My mind is blown, and I'm like,
the Lord
type
knew
of woman
you
is
needed
this
some humbling
to beat me in a competition. So anyway, we go out to eat afterwards.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let me tell her.
That was Sonic.
Yeah.
Sonic.
Wasn't no big deal. Went to Sonic, sitting in the car, and I'm like, these are the reasons why I backed up. Okay? Of those reasons, a couple of those things end up being some type of legalistic, me overblowing what was actually going on.
Yeah, or misunderstandings. Yeah.
And you cleared them up.
Yeah.
You think I would just ask you the first time if my interpretation was correct, but like a lot of young marrieds do, I just knew my interpretation was correct and it was wrong, and you cleared it up. And then there was one thing I think about pursuit of the Lord or spending time in the Word or something, and you was like, man, that's so accurate. And you started crying, and you was like, man, I miss these type of conversations where I feel like I'm being held accountable. And that touched me. That really touched me. Your response really touched me. One, I was humbled because of the things that I didn't get correct. And then I was blown away by your response to the thing that I did get correct. I was not expecting that. I really was expecting you to blow off everything I had to say and just go on about your business. And you didn't do that. And the next day, well, what do you think about that time, that moment?
Yeah, it was just an honest conversation. It was good to have. It helped me to understand the reason for you backing up.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because when you called me when I was in New York, you didn't tell me what it was that you saw in me or that you felt like you didn't see in me that made you feel like this wasn't going to work. You just kind of said, you called and you said this is what it was, and that was it.
Yeah.
There was no real room for dialogue in that initial conversation. So that conversation we had at Sonic in the car was good. It just was clarifying for me. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is why he thought that. And oh, he really wasn't understanding what I meant when I said I went to the club. Like, I wasn't out here clubbing. I went with a specific dance group, and the club that time was set aside at different hours where we did just that. It wasn't,
The Chicago stepping.
Yeah, it was a specialty. It was a specialized time in which a specific group of people went together. They had dance lessons and they did a specific type of dance. It wasn't just we out here trying to catch men and we, grinding and dropping it. Yeah, and drinking all over the place. It wasn't like that. So that was good. But on the flip side of that, so it was good to be able to speak that part and speak truth to that. But it honestly was refreshing to hear someone challenge me on things from a spiritual standpoint in other ways. And I think I missed that, having had that concentrated focus and being in a group of people who are all like-minded. And then you leave college and you leave that campus outreach environment and you're kind of out there by yourself trying to figure it out. And you haven't lost your faith, but you don't have that close contact that you had and that tight-knit circle that you had. And so you don't have people in your face every day asking you what the Lord teaching you, how you quiet time, how you time in the Word, So for you to call me to account on a couple of things that maybe didn't line up perfectly, that really was refreshing, and I was open to hear that.
Yeah. So. And like a lot of young people may be looking for a spouse, I had a list of things that I wanted in a spouse. And I think I even took time to try to write those things down based on female characters I saw in the scriptures, like Rebecca and Rachel and Sarah and others. And I had a list, I want to say it had 25 things on it, but that day, what God showed me was that the one thing you need more than anything is somebody who, when they hear the word, respond. How one responds to being confronted with the truth of the scriptures. How someone responds when a light is shined on an area of life that needs adjusting. And what it showed me was that whatever life brings, if you have that, well, we can always go back to truth. We can always go back to the scriptures. Yeah. We can always go back to the conviction of the Spirit. And that's going to influence how we behave. Yeah. Then I don't need this list. I just need this posture, heart posture towards the things of God. And then whatever life brings, we're able to face it from that foundation. And that's exactly what we've seen through stillbirth and being robbed and, family conflict and sickness and 33 house guests and living in the inner city, so on and so forth. Conflict between us,
Yeah.
not being on the same page. It all comes back to that, and God has used that in a mighty, mighty powerful way. So we're not finishing everything about the story, but this is the majority of it. That next day, when I left, I called my friend, and I said, dude, I think this is the one. He said, boy, you better get off the phone with me and tell that girl you want to marry her, blah, blah, blah. And that's exactly what I did. I got off the phone with him, and I said, Thais, I don't know exactly what I said. Sorry for the runaround, but I feel like the Lord is telling me that you're my wife. And you remember what you said? Or what you did?
It couldn't have been the next day. Was it the next day?
It was you were driving from
So I was going from Atlanta to Vegas.
to your next appointment, your next station.
For some
you were
reason,
just
it
visiting
seems like
your
more
sister.
time was in there.
One more time.
Okay.
You were visiting your sister.
Yeah.
And you were on your way to your next assignment, which was Vegas.
I remember what I said. I said, okay, I'm going to need the Lord to tell me the same thing. I can't talk to you for a while.
And got off the phone. And you said you need to fast.
No, I told you that later because when you first told me that, you just called and told me and got off the phone because you knew I wouldn't know how to respond.
I was actually on my way in a staff meeting, and I said, hey, I'm going to tell you something. I know you're going to need time, so I'm going to just tell you and I'm going to go to my meeting. And I told you. And then you was like, okay. And then when I called you back,
that's when I was like,
said, I need time to fast and pray.
Yeah.
And
because that's great if you heard that, but I need to hear that too.
Yeah. We'll pick up with the next episode.
Yeah.
What happened after you fasted and prayed. So come back,
subscribe,
stay tuned for more from TNT as we break down
how the Lord brought us together.
Amen.
Been together 18 years, now it's the legacy. Like sweeter with you by my side, just like some Nestle. I'm better with you right here standing next to me. Me and you together with God is the right recipe. With Jesus dying on that cross, it's a necessity. Always make me feel at ease when weight is pressing me. You and me walking together through life's complexities. Family and ministry, flowing just like TNT.